Hello and welcome to Pretty Ninja Racing. My name is Anders and I will be your host, talking you through round one of the PNF4, the Pretty Ninja F4 series. It's the first time we've done a F4 series, and look, I'm currently on screen right now. Qualifying has just started. It was qualifying sessions in the PNF4 are 5 minutes long, kind of hot lap sessions. So if you do mess it up, as I'm about to right here, and it just cuts off there, you're kind of a little bit scuppered. So let's move forward through qualifying. Let's head towards the last minute and see how our drivers got on. So we come to the last minute of the qualifying session. We can see Lloyd is leading the way here with a 152.4 so far. 66 in P2, Patterson in P3, Graham in P4, and is yet to get a time on the board. Kept on getting off tracks going on as Lloyd is about to cross over the line. Jamski about to cross over the line to improve to a 151.9. Even though Jamski is not a fan of Formula cars, these F4s in RaceRoom are quite something. 66 goes over the line with no improvement, sadly. Lemming getting a lap time on the board. And now in P5. Here's Graham. Let's see if Graham can improve on their lap time. And Anders just gone over the line to take P3. 1.1 second behind Anders in the top spot. Behind Lloyd in the top spot. And I'm glad that I'm seeing this now. So I now know that I need to fix this a little bit more. But Lloyd ultimately taking P1. 6 takes P2. Anders P3. Patterson P4. Graham P5. And Lemming in P6. But I definitely am writing that down as things to sort out. So, without further ado, let's head over to round one race. The race of round one, rather. So, the cars are on the line. Sorry if the microphone sounds a little bit weird this week. My Rode microphone stand decided to break, so I can't currently use my Rode mic. But anyway, the cars are lining up on the grid. There is Jamski. All 6 drivers ready to rock and roll here at Watkins Glen for round one of the PNF4 25-minute race. Clock is in the top row there, and the lights are flashing. And off we pop for round one. 66 gets a good start. Jamski, for some reason, apparently had a bit of a HUD issue. And is trying to get round the outside of Jamski, being squeezed ever so slightly by Jamski. Jamski takes the race in line. Anders cuts across a little bit there, trying to carry more speed. And it looks like Jamski's front left and Anders' rear right touched, and ultimately has forced Jamski from P1 all the way down to P5. Bit of a racing incident there, T1. Luckily, no one died. Anders was lucky to survive. And the slip going up towards the bus stop chicane for the first time. And Anders is on the outside. Who's going to get through first? 66 gets through. Are they all going to get through nice and neatly? Yes, they are. Patterson looking to get down the inside of Anders. But with these F4s, you can pretty much pin it for at least 95% of the circuit. Have it full throttle. So Jamski trying to make his way up the field, being held up right now by the green and black of Graham. And side by side they go down to the uphill right-hander, and Patterson is trying to keep up with 66. And Anders ahead of them. And is so far doing a very good job. Patterson back in the rig after many, many months of missing out and driving a game called ACC, which won't be alive for much longer, as Evo is going to take over, and Patterson runs extremely wide there. Luckily, the rules that we have here at Pretty Ninja are more instant point related than the slow me down penalties or anything like that. So we have a safety rating and a competitive rating. Sorry. And basically the off tracks or any collisions will affect your safety rating effectively, which, when we hope the community grows a little bit larger, may affect what cars you can pick. As Anders is looking to try and get down the inside of 66 into T1. Not quite able to do so. And 66 still holds on to the lead for now, but the slip here at Watkins Glen, if anyone's driven it before, knows it's very active until you pull out Got to make the move stick and make the move right. Anders looking to try and get down the inside of the right-hander. 66 being very, very kind and giving Anders the inside line here. And Anders has definitely got at least half a car. But as we go into the braking zone, he's getting a lot more side-by-side. But as Anders has got the inside, 66 is just letting him through for now. Patterson is still able to keep up, mind, after that wide off track. Lloyd in the background there making an excellent move on Graham through the bus stop chicane. You can see that Lloyd has still lost 3 positions when realistically he should be at the front here, leading the way. He was very rapid through practice and qualifying, and even on the practice server that we had running before this event started. 66 looking to get their first PNR championship win. Well, not championship win, sorry. Championship series win title. Whatever we would like to call it. And Anders runs incredibly wide. So does Patterson there. That is probably the hardest corner on the circuit because you're so used to just being flat throughout the whole course. And then all of a sudden you got this 3rd gear, maybe 4th at a push. Sort of slow, tightening right-hander, downhill right-hander as well, causing the car to understeer out towards the outside. As we cross the line to finish lap 2. 4 minutes have pretty much gone already. Close to 2-minute lap times here at Watkins Glen. Now can 66 mount an attack on Anders through this run? We can see Patterson in the background just running a little bit wide there. We can see Lloyd in the blue F4 in the background doing their best to regain the ground, and 66 is looking to go round the outside of Anders around this right-hander. And just placing his car in the middle of the circuit by the looks of it. 6 trying to get back into the slip. Can he get any move done before the chicane? It doesn't look like it this time around. They go through the bus stop. We can see all of them trying to carry as much speed through that bus stop as possible. But once again, we're talking 1/10 of a second gap between these two. And all it takes is a little bit of grass on the outside, and all of a sudden you're not going to have a good time. Lemming, fairly new to sim racing, doing their best to keep going, not make any errors. Is currently in P6, 4 seconds behind the leader, which is not bad going considering. In fact, this is the first time they've really driven these cars and this circuit, so doing a great job there. And so is Graham in the background in the green and black car. If you're not confident with these cars, it can be very tricky. We can see in the background there, Lloyd and / Jamski is trying to mount an attack on Patterson. But whether that can amount to anything quickly, but Jamski really does need to make something happen. You can see Patterson going a little bit defensive there. And 66 trying to look down the inside into T1, but it's just not a heavy enough braking zone into T1 for these F4s. You kind of can carry the speed. You don't need to defend too much. Let's up the S as we go. And 66 getting a marvellous tow going up the hill through the S's. Heading towards the bus stop chicane. Surely there must be enough overspeed for 66 to get that done. And Anders just about holds on to the position. That looks a little bit sketchy. And Lloyd has managed to get his way through by Patterson to take P3. Sadly, we've not seen that move. It looks very good again into the bus stop. Lloyd has definitely got the confidence in the F4 car underneath him to get those sort of... You've got to really commit to the moves, and the car that you're racing with really does need to understand what is at stake. If they also commit a little bit too hard, you're both going to have a bad time. Over the brow of the hill we go to the awkward, I'm going to call it the awkward right-hander, braking at the first, or braking at the advertising board, and just running a little bit wide there, taking as much curb as possible, but racking up the incident points. And feeling the heat of the AI that is 66. He isn't an actual AI, I say it all the time, but 66 is quick and consistent. Rarely makes a mistake. When he does make a mistake, though, it can be quite a large one. Excuse me, just having a bit of a drink. All this commentating, which I haven't done for quite some time properly. Did it for the PNTCC videos, and I hope you guys like those. They seem to have got pretty decent viewership, so thank you very much. But as we go up the S's for lap 5, 66 is a hell of a lot closer this time around and has the inside line this time around. Surely this is going to be 66's turn to take the race lead into the bus stop. But somehow Anders just seems to have a little bit more power. So I kept it in 5th all the way up to the bus stop, and I don't know if that just helped that extra little bit of final drive, because if he did shift into 6th, I noticed that he did lose a 1 mile per hour basically for a very brief time, and I think that does affect the top end speed going up to the bus stop. I think if you keep it in 5th, you kind of and really bring that gear out. We'll look at the RPMs next time. You can see that in the bottom right of your screen. You've got the kilometers an hour and the RPMs, and we'll just see what sort of RPMs 66 is reaching. As we go through the tyre hander, and Jamsky has got the gap down to 1.9 seconds now. With 15 minutes remaining. 10 minutes is already gone, which is, it felt like a very quick race in the actual race, in all fairness. Probably with it being a close to 2-minute lap time and a 25-minute race, you know, kind of makes it a little bit nicer to drive. Long laps. Oh, and Patterson in the background there, just kissing Barry up, saying, "Hello, bud. Hope you're doing well." Luckily, the damage is only limited. Set to limited in our series, because if we have damage on full, we will probably all suffer quite greatly. Can 66 get anything done this time around? There is a lap where I tried to break the toe. It's not this one. By driving off the racer line, and all that really did was just slow me up massively. So 66 is going for it this time around, inside line. And 66 this time gets the job done, moves into P1 and just falls back down to P2. But these two, very respectful of each other. And once again, only 0.1 of a gap. The dirty air in these cars were pretty real, but doesn't seem like it there. And that just gets a pretty good drive coming out of the left-hander, but not really able to do anything round the right-hander. You can see Anders wanted to turn in just that little bit earlier, but 66 just dragged that corner out just enough to keep Anders at bay. And now it's 66's turn to take the lead of the race. We're on lap 6, 14 minutes left to go. Jamsky still around about 2 seconds behind. And Patterson is roughly 2 seconds behind Lloyd. So the field is starting to spread out a little bit here, apart from these front two, where there's not, well, it's basically 1 car length gap. You see Lloyd in the background really kicking that car into gear. Really trying to catch up here. And is getting a rather good run there out of T1. Can he make anything of it going up the hill, though? 66 seems to lose quite a bit of momentum there. But we're now watching Anders. Let's see what sort of RPMs we're getting in 5th gear. Gonna go around the outside. Not even going to get it done. Nowhere near alongside. And we're looking around about 5,600 RPMs. 5,600 RPMs. Not too bad. If we go back to 66, we'll see what sort of RPMs we get to. But all of these cars, by the way, are fixed setup as well. So there is no aero differences between anybody. Everyone's got exactly the same car. So it's all down to practice, really. I think if I didn't practice, I would have been nowhere near 66 in this race. That corner, if you get it right, feels so nice. Just able to get back on the power nice and early. Just drive out the corner with it being a nice uphill, curved right-hander. 66 runs wide. Pardon me. According to the, I don't know if you could hear that in the background actually with with me talking, but you can. The track side said that they're going 3 wide. Well, I would like to know where and who. It does sound like the commentators from IndyCar, in all fairness. Round the last corner we go to finish off lap 7. 11.5 minutes to go. Lloyd is back to 2 seconds behind, so this might have happened. Anders is looking down the inside, but once again, it's just not a heavy enough braking zone, really. And up the S's we go, and Lloyd not being in the slipstream does make it a little bit more difficult for him. Anders really tucking in behind 66, pulls out as late as possible, but again, the moment you pull out, you just hit this invisible brick wall of air, and it slows the car right down. And we do seem to be enjoying watching the battle for P1 at this moment in time. It is the closest battle on the circuit, so I can understand why Auto Director is really chopping and changing. The only thing I wish it did do, and I might look into it, is whether it can automatically change the camera. Because I feel like a little bit of onboard right now would be absolutely lovely, rather than just TV cam. So that's 2 things that I need to look into, really. Around the awkward right-hander we go. The ARH. Awkward right-hander. 10 minutes on the clock. We have about 5 laps to go. Maybe 6. Or depending on how the clock falls, really. And you can see Anders running a little bit wide there. So I know that we kind of had a gentleman's agreement now. If you ran wide after T1, because you could gain so much time by doing that. So if you get a track cut, basically you just don't overtake. Effectively, it's just not fair on the car in front, even if it's last lap, you know, don't be silly, sort of thing. And there's letting 66 keep the lead this time around, purely because the off track from lap 1. And so far, these two are driving an absolutely faultless race. I can't imagine what it would have been like with Lloyd / Jamski up here with them. I think it would have been an absolute hell of a battle, but they would have had to have been smart. Whoever's in P2 and 3 can't really battle each other like that, because if they do, they're just going to lose time to the car ahead, and if they lose the slip to the car ahead, then you've got no hope. And just taking a cheeky look down the inside here of the right-hander, not quite alongside. Backs out to be able to take the corner nice and safely. And away they go a bit more. Second to last corner, coming up to the last corner. Finishing off lap 9. And we've had 9 full laps. We've had 18 minutes of racing, and the gap is still only 2 or 3 tenths between these front two. So 15 minutes of just pure aggression from each driver, really. Pure persistence. Now, Anders seems to have got a really good slip here. Look at that, 5,800 RPM. 5,800 RPM. Is this Andy's corner? It is Anders' corner. 66 has let him through. The problem is with that bus stop, if you go too shallow, you're just scuppering your entry, and it's just going to end badly for everyone. So you don't want to go too shallow, because you want to be out enough to the left to be able to carry your speed through the bus stop. But that also leaves the door open. So it is a very, very tricky... In a faster car, it might be a little bit easier, but in these cars, because they're just that sort of mix between quite fast and also quite slow, it is quite tricky to defend that corner without driving a bit recklessly. And 66 is 1/10 behind Anders here. Looks to go down the inside. Anders drives around the left-hander and manages to just keep his race in line. And sometimes, folks, in racing, sim racing, or racing in real life, just driving your line, your fastest line, is the best way to defend. You don't always have to go to the inside line to defend a corner. It's a bit like T1 here. Even though 6 is clearly trying to put Anders off, if I just stick to my line, I know he's not alongside me. So, and I know he's not going to have the big speed difference to be able to get alongside to cause the move. And here is where I try to break the toe through the S's, but it was a very stupid move. Really, all it did was allow 66, there you go, straight down the inside and into P1. Just tried to do something a little bit differently to not allow 6 to get the slip on me, but in the end, all that really happened was I opened the door and said, off you go, sir. Through you go. Have P1. With 5 minutes left on the clock. So, you know, you've seen that it's taken a fair few minutes to get the race lead back, whoever has been in P2, apart from that instance. In racing conditions, it's been very difficult to get that position back, and Lloyd is still there, just in the background, waiting for something to happen between these two, even though they're being both very respectful, but also very quick and consistent. Now, F4 racing may not be the most enjoyable. Anders looking down the inside yet again, trying to put 66 off, which didn't really happen. 66 took that corner like an absolute champ. And is able to hold on to the race lead for another lap. Through the last corner we go to crack off lap 11. And now it's going to start getting a little bit more dicey. The drivers are going to maybe try and be a little bit more riskier, try and force their opponent to make more of a mistake. Just try and get any extra attempt you can. You can see Anders running wide a bit there. Again, gentleman's agreement, if you run wide out T1, you don't go for the move. So to help stay behind, I just try to get into the slip, because I know it's clearly a little bit slower. But up to the bus stop we go. Quick dab on the brakes, shift down one gear, go through the chicane as fast as possible. I keep it in 5th, 6 uses 4th. It doesn't really make any difference apart from this corner here, where you can get a little bit more exit speed in 4th. I just found the car was a little bit more stable for me in 5th. Oh, and it looks like Lemming. Oh, look at that, no front wing. Massive crash after the last corner, causing the yellow flag in Sector 3. That was some hefty damage. Even on limited, that must have been a hell of a shunt into the inside of the right-hander. So he must have just eaten a little bit too much curb and just spun the car around and put it into the wall. As we're now heading back to the front of the grid, and we can see Jamsky has got that gap down to 1.6 seconds. You did run a little bit wide on the exit there, but still 1.5 seconds now is the gap between P2 and P3. So with 2 minutes left to go, something's got to happen for Jamski to get into the party. And Anders has got a great exit there out of the last corner, but sadly just doesn't quite have enough speed to mount a challenge into T1. Like I said, it's not a slow enough corner. It sounds stupid. It probably is stupid. But it's a very, very tough corner without being in a very, very quick car to overtake on. And Anders is trying to make the move early against 66, trying to get down the inside of the right-hander to help get him through into the front spot with 1 minute 50 left on the clock. And 66 has had to concede P2 to Anders here. So he will get one more lap after this one. Through the bus stop they go. Now all Anders has to do is hold on to that position as best as he can, and it's very tricky to defend against 66, but in equal machinery it's also incredibly difficult to get the move done. And up the hill we go, coming up to the awkward right-hander yet again. Through the right-hander we pop. Anders running a little bit wide, not too bad though. Around the left-hander we go. Oh, and Anders is running incredibly wide onto the grass there. That should allow 66 to go through, but it looks like 66 actually went off the throttle. And look at that in the background. Jamski is now half a second behind. 66 has lost momentum, and now all of a sudden Lloyd is in the party, running incredibly wide out of the last corner, brushing barrier. Anders has somehow gained a gap of half a second. He really should have lost P1 there. And all of a sudden, on the final lap of the race, Lloyd has now got in behind 66. And it looks like he's going to try for a move. The slip is pretty good. 66 is defending the inside line. Can Lloyd get anything done into the bus stop? He's so close up the rear end of 66. Anders has got a bit of breathing space. Through the bus stop they go. This is the battle for P2 now. It's gone from the battle for P1, and now 66 is fighting to keep hold of P2. Down the hill we go into the left-hander. 66 just defending, driving that racing line. Like I mentioned, sometimes it is better to drive your racing line. Just keep the speed up. And up and around the hill we go. Anders is almost home and free, as long as he doesn't make the same mistakes he did the lap before. But Lloyd, on the other hand, could very well pinch a P2 result here, all depending on 66 and whether the mental games of the past 25 minutes has had any effect. 66 goes defensive into the left-hander. Which has given Jamski quite the run, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to get anything from this. And Lloyd has gone really tight around the left-hander, carrying as much speed as he can through the right-hander. It's going to be a dragged race to the line. Anders cross over the line in P1, and 66 is just about going to hold on to P2. Jamski, Lloyd takes P3. Patterson, for his first race back in quite some time, takes P4. Not bad for Mr. Patterson at all. Graham Kirkpatrick will be taking P5. And again, another first real time in the F4 for Graham. Really pushing it. So Graham's going to take P5. And here is Lava Lemming, bless him, with no front wing whatsoever. So around here, that must have been very hard And you can tell that crash has definitely lost them quite a lot of time. And in all fairness to him, yeah, he's having to take each corner very slowly. He's just nice little Sunday drive to the racing line. The race is over, as it says at the top. And I got a funny feeling the final standings are going to show the same thing. So I'll show you the final standings through or via the website as Lava Lemming crosses over the line to take P6 at round 1 at Watkins Glen. Oh no, it looks absolutely fine. Excellent news. And this is our race winner after the mishap of the third to last corner. C6 takes P2, Lloyd takes P3, and the fastest lap of a 152.272. Patterson P4, Graham in P5, and Lava Lemming in P6. So we know what the standings are going to look like, but let's look at the points of the standings. So as we know, Anders is currently on the top spot with 30.66 in P2 with 25. Jamski P3 with 22. Hugh Janus, aka Patterson, in P4 with 20. Chosen, aka Graham, in P5 with 18. And Lava Lemming in P6 with 16. And as you can see, we've got 5 more rounds left of the PNF4. We'll be featuring the Slovakia Ring, Hungary Ring, Circuit de la Shard. I don't know why I said de la Shard. Circuit de Shard. Nürburgring Grand Prix with the fast chicane, and finishing off at Interlagos. You can join into these events completely for free. All you have to do is make an account at prettyninjaracing.com, link your RaceRoom account and your Steam account. It's very easy to do so. You can do it in about 5 minutes if you're computer savvy, and all you have to do is click join. You don't even have to join our Discord if you don't want to, but you are more than welcome to. As you can see, round 2 is at the Slovakia Ring. That'll be kicking off at 8 PM on the 10th of the 11th next for this Sunday. At the minute, we have 3 drivers. The more drivers we have, the merrier. It doesn't matter your skill level, whether you're brand new to sim racing / RaceRoom, or whether you're an absolute veteran. We appreciate all of you to join in. If you liked this video, make sure you actually, well, like it and subscribe. It will really help with the video getting a little bit more views to get our community out there and seen in the very fastness of the sim racing universe. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves. My name is Anthony, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking you through today's race, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday for the 1995 DTM Wednesday community event on RaceRoom, which you can also find at our website. But catch you on round 2 on Sunday. Bye bye.